this series against the Kings?
It's a great, very good team we're playing against. They have a great offense, so it'll be important for us to take care of the ball on the offensive end and make sure we can get our defense set and not playing against them in transition. They're really good when you allow them to play in transition and not against a set defense every play. So it'll be important for us. What we do on the offensive end will be very critical to what we're able to do on the defensive end.
After the Portland game, you were talking about how you learned anything over these last 10 years. It's that, legacies, things, reputations are built in the playoffs, not the regular season. So I guess heading into this postseason, how much are you taking what happened in the regular season and saying either that's not us or there's still another level? And then also, I guess, there's still teams around this league that really do fear you guys heading into the postseason. So how does, I guess, your reputation just lead to that?
It's huge to have that reputation going into the playoffs because, people can act the way they want to act and you can make your mouth say anything, but it ultimately shows up when someone is a little bit fearful. As far as the regular season goes, I think for us, I feel a totally different energy now that the regular season is over. And, some of the issues that we had during the regular season, they just don't go away. You still have to correct those, but, the focus level in the playoffs is totally different. The preparation is totally different. So you lean into that a little more and you lean into the know-how. You know what to do. A lot of these teams don't know how. And so when you can lean into that and be confident in that, I think, that's an added bonus for us.
Even at age 35, it appears as though Steph hasn't slowed down at all.
I thought you was trying to age me 2 years, Melissa.
What impresses you most, either about the way he maintains his, body or his mind, his mental, in order to be able to still be so elite and not slow down?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think, the work that you see him put in on his body each and every day, you continually watch that grow, but then also has watched him grow mentally and get sharper and sharper, how he approaches things, how he thinks about things. Has continued to get sharper. And, when you look at the guys who's been able to do it at that level for that long, I think those are the two most important things. And then just his will and desire to win. That hasn't waned one bit. And if anything, it's gotten stronger. And so I think it's that, a lot of times you see guys lose the love for it, lose the love for the preparation, and for him, I've watched that get stronger. You start to see guys take shortcuts like, man, I don't feel like doing that today. And it's just continued to get stronger and stronger for him. And so it's no surprise that he's still able to play at the level he's playing at.
Dre, what makes the Kings such a good transition team offensively? And although they're not the best defensive team,
Fox fast, really, really, really fast. Possibly the fastest guy in the NBA. So you start there. They have shooters around him, so you got guys running to the three-point line, which then allows the floor to stay space for him to drive in the lanes. And then if nothing's there, they have an incredible playmaker trailing the play who's catching and going into DHOs and Sabonis, making reads. I think he's averaging, 6.5, almost 7 assists this year. A lot of that comes out of the secondary break. And, but when you got a guy like De'Aaron Fox who's pushing the ball and flattens out the defense, then it allows him to work behind the play and get guys open. And so it's a mixture of things. I think they do a really good job of leaning into their strengths, playing to their guys' strengths. And that's, a few of the things that allows them to be so successful in transition.
What about defensively? They're not the best defensive team, but they're number one in opponents' fast break points allowed.
Well, Mike is very crazy about transition defense. That's one that he harps on, and that shows the discipline of a team. Because everyone talks about it, but when you say oh man, they're not the best defense team yet, they're giving up the fewest transition points. Defense sometimes come down to a particular skill set as well. So some guys don't have that skill set. but you do what you can. I think, the transition defense is more indicative of the commitment, the coaching, and then also what's happening on the offensive end. Because you're taking care of the ball, you're not giving up as many opportunities. Obviously, they have the most potent offense in NBA history. That'll help your transition defense because it's not as many opportunities. So I think that's as important.
When it comes to Klay Thompson, we've talked to him and seen this journey that he's been on, but you've obviously been at a different level. He's averaged career high in rebounds. He's knocked down 300 threes in a season for the first time. Are there certain moments in the season where you've seen Klay and you've been like, that's Klay? And like, what were those moments and what are you looking for when you look at like this new version of Klay?
I think more so than it just being a particular moment is how much more consistent he's gotten. Early on he would have a game and then you're like, oh man, that's great. And then he'll have a game where he just can't get it going. And I think that's a part of the buildup, right? Like as you're working yourself back, doing that night in and night out. Like that's what separates superstars from just average guys in this league. It's like everybody has something that they can get going on a given night, but can you do that night in and night out? And that's been a part of his journey back. And so I think for me, it's more so him doing it now on a more consistent basis, as opposed to like we've seen him have 50 a few times this year or 2 or 3 times. We've seen him have 40 a few times. As opposed to like singling out one game, I think it's just the consistency of being Klay Thompson every single night.
Draymond, Andrew was obviously essential to your title last season. How confident are you that he can get back to that level of last year's playoffs sooner rather than later?
You hope so. A fairly young guy who's always in shape, so you expect him to come back and play at the level that he's played at. I know it's important for us, and we'll need it, so it's definitely what you expect.
And you obviously have a really good relationship with Mike Brown. How have you personally felt his absence this season?
His voice, number one, his voice, especially when it comes to the defense side of the ball, he's super intense. And when you have someone that intense, you feel that. You feel that on a daily basis. It's accountability. Anyone that's held you accountable to something in your life, you feel that to a different extent than someone who just lets you get by. And, not that our coaching staff now will let us get by, but, some people have that knack, where you just hear their voice all the time. And that's Mike. I realized it years ago, just like even when he was doing the offense, when he would start talking about defense, he'd start dripping sweat, like getting all into it. And you're like, man, he's really passionate about that. And I think anything in life, like if someone's passionate about something, you feel that passion no matter what. Everybody good? Everybody, y'all got what you? Yep. All right. No problem.